Every human being can be the best version of themselves if they have one loving adult. If you don't have a human adult, why not have a digital adult to help you? All of a sudden, you're seeing more productivity, you're seeing more gains. Employees are happier, they are more productive, more efficient, and they make more money.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of the Supercharged podcast. I'm very excited. Today, we have a fascinating guest here with me in the studio. She's a co founder of Avatar Buddy, a platform that merges behavioral science, AI, and human values. It's a very interesting topic, so I'm very excited about our conversation today. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello, thank you for having me here, Elena.
You're so welcome. It's a pleasure for having you here today and very excited to hear from you and learn more about Avatar Buddy. And this is something that is really interesting now. And I think a lot of us business owners are looking forward to explore and learn about and even work with and implement in our businesses because we see the possibilities of how incredible it can be for enhancing our brand, for expanding online our reach. Tell us more a little bit about you, about what you're doing right now, and what is Avatar Buddy.
So I grew up in Belize and I've been in Miami for about 34 years. I have a master's in economic development and international studies. And when I graduated from UM with my master's, I had an internship at Hewlett Packard, which where I met one of the original coders of Unix who gave me a master class in computers. And my career in technology just took off from there. Most recently, before Avatar Buddy, I was a CIO and chief programs officer at the Children's Trust, which is a local funding organization in Miami. And about 10 years ago, I was trying to figure out what new skills I needed to learn, and I landed on AI. And one summer, I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and she we were talking about how to solve the world's problems. And I thought she said you should create a digital mentor. And I said, yes, we should do that. And that's what sparked Avatar Buddy. So we've been working on Avatar Buddy for 10 years. We got the first code drop in 2021, Martin Luther King Day 2021. So this is our fifth anniversary of actually having an actual product.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
thank you. We went to market in 23. And what we do is we create AI agents on behalf of people. And so rather than your company, so your small business, mid-sized business, you don't want to build out an entire AI department. We'll build out AI agents for you. We'll manage them, we'll maintain them, we'll update them. And then every 2 months, we'll meet with you to see what other AI needs you might have. And understanding that no one company can serve all your AI needs will help provide thought leadership as you look for other AI companies to provide the services that we don't provide.
Amazing. That's amazing. Thank you also for sharing a little bit about the story of how the spark of everything, how everything started. So Avatar Buddy is not just an AI tool, as I understood. It's also a lot more than that and a belief system. What human problems are you really trying to solve or when you created it, and actually did you find some others that you are solving and you didn't know you will solve?
Absolutely, yes. I started out with just the belief that every human being can be the best version of themselves if they have one loving adult in their life. And if you don't have a human adult, why not have a digital adult to help you? And this doesn't mean not just kids, but also adults having another adult believing in you more than you believe in yourself at those times so that you can truly lean into your awesomeness. And as we've been evolving this, what we realize is that when the way our AIs are configured, we help people build their self agency. So imagine somebody come in and have it working with the AI and then just sitting a little bit taller, having their back a little bit straighter, having a little bit more confidence. And that translates for the employers into higher productivity, being able for people taking a little bit more risk in a way that makes them try new things and helps expand sales, reduce expenses, and ultimately leads to better profitability for the employers. So we have seen our AI helping farmers learn how to do farming techniques in Ghana, nonprofits increasing the amounts of the grants they're getting, training organization being able to provide more training and more impactful training so that Their participants are passing the exams at a higher rate. So it's a wide range of solutions, and people might say, why is it so many different things? And it's because we're focused on the person, less about the industry and more about the person. Because people are in every industry, as long as we help amplify people and build their self agency, we're good to go.
That's amazing, and I think very important part to have in place,
Mhm.
and take the human
Mm.
as a
Yeah.
as the most important. So what is actually Avatar doing? How does it work? Can you tell me a little
So
bit more?
let's say you have a business, a startup. So I'll give you an example, a startup. And the CEO wants to scale, doesn't have the resources to hire all the different positions. So what we would do is we would say to them, look, we'll give you these AI agents. We'll give you a marketing buddy. We'll give you a finance buddy. We'll give you an editor buddy. So the editor buddy is configured to edit your work. So you might be a great CEO, but you might not write well. Editor buddy now helps you write in. Maybe English is not your first language. Editor Buddy helps you edit your documents. It tells you why it's editing it. Fiscal Buddy helps you analyze your financial statements, helps you interpret it so that when somebody comes and asks you about how your business is doing, you can talk about it intelligently. And then Marketing Buddy helps you create marketing campaigns, helps you write social media posts so that you have brand consistency across. And then they might need a different buddy, like maybe a recruiter buddy. So being able to filter out all the spam applicants to just get real applicants and have a process that feels human like to be able to get down to the qualified applicants very quickly. So that's what we would do. So they would go to our website. A customized website for them. They would log on. They'd have a list, a drop down with the four buddies that they can choose from, and they could start talking. And a really cool thing that we have done is, let's say you started with something about marketing. Marketing buddy wrote something for you. Then you could have then just switch over to editor buddy, and editor buddy can edit that what you just wrote. You don't have to change, copy and paste it into a new chat. And then once Editor Buddy has edited it, you can have Fiscal Buddy say, okay, no, attach the fiscal analysis of what you think this marketing campaign will cost and how is it going to impact the bottom line, and do some forecasting. So you just switch again. And our buddies don't all run on the same GPTs. There are different GPTs depending on what they need to do. So you're having access to multiple LLMs. You have access to being able to change the AI agents without getting a new chat, and you also have your data in a small language model or a data vault so that you're able to really and truly protect your data. So that's kind of like an example of how we would be how a small business person would be working with us.
Amazing. It sounds like the perfect assistance that it can be very helpful.
Absolutely.
Have you measured results of how many, for example, hours you can save, or
Yeah.
what are the biggest benefits that a business owner has when they implement this avatar?
One organization that's training early child care workers had a saving of 700 hours.
Wow, it's
Um,
pretty
yeah,
significant.
that's a pretty significant number of hours. And so they are now able to repurpose that staff to do some other support, that because now they're not having to spend that time working with directly with the applicants.
Right.
Another customer increased her productivity by 67%, which then obviously increased her revenue by her income by 67%. She used to could work, she would only work on one project at a time. Now she can run three projects concurrently because of the AI agents that we've given her.
Amazing. I actually heard you talking about AI agents and digital twins and the harmony between them. But beyond the tech, what does harmony look like in a business that's constantly changing?
Harmony is, well, I would say the reason why we are focused on helping AI, creating AI agents and digital twins to amplify people is because if as long as you help people maintain equilibrium, then they stay in harmony as things change. So we all know that employees are at their best. Anybody's at their best if they're in equilibrium. And that's where harmony lives as well. And so if you are moving out of equilibrium because you're happy all the time, or you're sad all the time, or you're stressed all the time, what we want to do is give you solutions that will help you get back to equilibrium, make you feel more confident, more comfortable, building your self agency. When you have high self agency, you have a belief that you can do anything, you can accomplish anything. And some of us, that's a natural thing. Some of us are fortunate to have been surrounded by people that help support us and build us. And some of us are not. And this is where our solutions really, really help. So it's not just about, hey, a solution to do financial analysis. Fiscal buddies also configure to support and encourage you as well. So it's the will and skill that makes the perfect human being. The will is, do I believe I can do this? How am I able to do it? And then the skill, which is, what are the techniques for me to do an analysis of a fiscal statement?
Amazing. So the digital twins are designed to capture the heart and soul and the brain of the business. Why is this so important as a for an emotional and cultural imprint to preserve?
So when you think about digital twins, we started out with digital twins of humans. So we still do that, and then digital twins of the organization. So most organizations, especially if you're a startup, as you start growing, you start feeling the culture shift. The camaraderie starts to change because you initially hire people from your friend garden, and then you get to a point where there's nobody else in your friend garden to hire. You have to start hiring strangers that may or may not have your same value system. And so when you put your value system, the norms into the AI reinforces it. It
Hmm.
tells you how to do stuff. And it's not like in a preachy way. So like a very simple example is that there's particular ways we want to talk about our solution. And we have people in South Africa, we have people in California, we have people in Texas, we have people in Miami, people, and you keep saying like, talk about it this way, talk about it this way. So I just said to the marketing buddy, whenever you talk about these things, this is how you talk about it. And so now I don't have to struggle with anybody because whenever they go and ask marketing buddy to write something for them, what it does is it already has that culture built in. So it's
Hmm.
consistently reinforcing our value words: safe, simple, and fast. It knows how to interweave that into everything that it produces. So I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's just like an example of maintaining culture. So you can just expand on that. And so as we're bringing on new people, we can just give them the buddies that they need to do their job. Like we have an intern, and her job is to get me on podcasts. And she's helping me average about 5 podcasts a week. I meet with her half an hour, and the rest of the time, she's using Marketing Buddy and Editor Buddy to apply to be on podcasts. And it's consistent. The team and the types of podcasts have been consistent across the board. And she's able to do that even though she's an intern because she has the AI maintaining the culture and the brand that we want to project.
That's fantastic. How do you see AI preserving efficiency for businesses nowadays?
I think that when you think about AI, you can't think about it just as like, can it be more efficient, right? Because if you're just focusing on efficiency, you're not going to maximize your AI investment and you might end up implementing it in a way that creates more problems. What you want to do is you want to say, am I getting the most out of my employees? And why would I not be getting the most out of my employees? So I don't get the most out of my employees because they have tasks that are mind numbing. They have tasks that are draining. They're doing work that they don't fully understand. They're afraid of asking people for help. The knowledge of how to do a particular task is concentrated in one or two people. Everybody has to keep going and asking them. Now, taking AI and saying, we put the information into the data vault. So anybody that has access to those AI agents now have access to that data. You put the way to do things into the data vault. You have the AI do the drudgery work. So now I'm coming in as an employee. I'm happy because I'm doing things that make my brain stimulate. I'm doing higher order thinking things. I'm able to do the analysis and test out and try new things and possibly fail, but it's okay because I'm having AI help me figure all this out. Now I feel fulfilled. And when you know what happens when you have an employee that feels fulfilled, that's excited to come to work. They bring their A game. They're producing at 1.2 full-time equivalent. So all of a sudden, you're seeing more productivity, you're seeing more gains, and you're not having to pay the employees anymore. The employees are happier, they're more engaged. That's a completely different way to show up. And now we all know that companies where employees are engaged and excited to come to work, they are more productive, more efficient, and they make more money.
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's great. As a person who designs avatars, like Avatar Buddy, what is actually designed to connect with people that is designed to help them in a way that we can connect as human to human? Is there any like part that we can, because so far a lot of times we are going to talk with AI, for example, on the phone or AI assistant online that we know exactly that is AI, and we don't feel this human connection that we feel when we're talking with a human. And this is something that it makes us upset, or we don't want to communicate with just something that is like
Yeah.
uh,
So we take a social science approach to using AI. So when we first started Avatar Buddy, we had five psychologists and one developer. And so we infuse the empathetic pieces of it. So while you're talking to our solutions, you know that it's an AI because it's not like some face. It's a text screen, so you know it's an AI that's texting you back, but also the way it's interacting with you feels kind of human-like. So we've gotten to where we can make it feel like it's about 80% human. And you might say, well, Stephanie, like, why are you stopping at 80%? And it's because we don't want to create something that's 100% human-like to confuse the end users.
mhm.
And so our solution, it's clear that it's an AI agent. If you try and get it to do things and make it turn it into a human, it will tell you that that's not what it's designed for.
Mhm. Yeah. What role does emotional intelligence take in designing the AI avatars?
I think it's a two levels, right? One is the people that are designing it has to have a solid social science background and come from it from a place of humility. That I am building this thing. I don't 100% sure how it works. I want it to also be humble. And, last August, OpenAI put out a study that said that if you train your AI to say, I don't know, it is going to, it's less likely to hallucinate than if you just tell it to always respond in a positive way or always respond in a particular way. And we've, from the beginning, been telling it doesn't know. We've been telling it that it can disagree with us.
Mhm.
So I actually had a half an hour disagreement with it. I was like, it's like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, no, I'm not wrong. And he's like, no. And it was just kind of like very interesting how it just kind of changed its positioning to try and get me to understand why I was wrong. It didn't just say, yes, okay, Stephanie, you're right.
Mhm.
And I think that that's the piece that where our AI is slightly different because we are focused on providing something that will amplify humans. And if you tell somebody, oh, everything is good all the time, then you are actually doing a miscarriage of justice and you're not really developing that person
Mhm.
because the way you learn and develop and grow is by making mistakes, by learning from those mistakes, by figuring out how to not have those mistakes again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that a little bit about how does AI works on the back end, or how does it think? How one avatar thinks when it's doing its thing.
Yeah.
What do companies still misunderstand about integrating AI or having an assistant that is taking a part of the work of the human team right now?
So what I find people thinking is I can just go get an AI agent and then I can just start going. And I tell people the first thing you have to do is understand your goal. Like, what problem are you trying to solve with AI? Why are you trying to solve this problem? What would the goal be in solving this problem? And what would the outcome be? What does the outcome look like? Because if you don't understand that, then what are you doing with the AI? The AI is not going to give you any valuable outcomes. And then after that, I say you have to understand the data. What data AI going to use? So if you say, oh, I'm just going to use what's out there in the LLMs, then I tell people, well, just go use ChatGPT because it doesn't make sense to use our product. So our product is designed to ensure that you have data vault of data that's been vetted, that's curated, that you know what's in it, and then you put the AI agents on top of that. And those AI agents are a particular function. That's why we call them function specific AI agents. So you know that Marketing Buddy is for marketing. So if you go and ask Marketing Buddy to review a contract, there's a strong possibility it'll tell you that it's not configured for that. I've asked Expert Buddy to do something, and Expert Buddy's like, I can't do that. I'm not configured for that. So you have to have the goals. And then once you have that, creating system prompts becomes a little bit easier. Now, I'm just going to say that I am noticing that the people that create the best system prompts have both a tech background and a social science background. So social science, think anthropology, sociology, they have economics, and then they've spent years in tech. Either they have a tech degree or they've just spent a lot of years working in tech. When you have merged those two things together, creating system prompts are much easier, and they're able to maximize the AI. And so then what ends up happening if you do that, the end user that's using those solutions don't have to have big, long, complicated prompts. So I did a demo where we created an AI agent that is supposed to help you figure out what it takes to run a childcare center. So it puts the business plan together. So I said, I want to open a childcare center in Coral Gables. This is my zip code. This is how many kids I want. And that's all I said, right? Just not full sentence. And then we had somebody that's an expert in it, and they're using ChatGPT, and they're like doing all these prompts and asking all these questions. And then I was like, here it is. And I was like, okay, so tell me what's wrong here. And he's like, oh, wow. It knew the ratio. It knew what other childcare centers were nearby. It could tell you what level of profitability. It was here's all the certifications and licensings you need. And so it was kind of like really interesting, right? So one could argue, I guess I could have used ChatGPT, but if you don't know about how the childcare space, ChatGPT will not give you what you want, or it's going to be a torturous process, as opposed to using an AI agent that's already been pre-configured. All it's going to do is say, "This is what it needs to do." Done.
Yeah, awesome. So, from your experience, what is the common thread? How do you approach transformation yourself, no matter the field?
I've always been love to learn. And so you can't be transformational if you're not in a space of learning. So I tell people that I like to learn new things. I like to try new things. Somebody said to me, "Hey, do you like jazz?" And I said, "I don't know. I listen to jazz." And they're like, "Do you want to?" And so they were like, "Oh, well, you don't want to go to this event." I'm like, "Yeah, of course I want to go to the event. It's a jazz event. I don't go to a lot of jazz events. This is a new experience for me.
Mm.
I can learn something from it."
Yeah.
So I'm constantly trying to learn new things. I travel a lot. I experience different cultures, and I talk to people that are not like me, that are from different background. A friend of mine and I, we have a yearly brunch where we invite our friends and we talk about what our goals are for the year and what help we need. And every few years we'll be like, "Hey, bring somebody under 40. Hey, bring somebody in their 20s." And we're in our 50s and 70s, and the idea is that we don't want just people in their 50s and 70s. We want the 20 something years old and the 30 something year olds in the conversation because they have a different worldview than we do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, what do you think the future generations will gain from tools like this, and how is their future changing?
So i I am hopeful that AI is actually going to drive us back to closer knitted community. And you might say, like, how is that, right? So there's so much deep fake, there's so many uncertainty online. So I only know you. So I trust you because I saw that you were interviewing somebody that I know.
Mm-hmm.
So instantly I was like, oh, Elena is a trusted entity because my friend was on her podcast. So this is a great trusted thing. And then I get your newsletter
Mm-hmm.
and I'm reading your newsletter. And every week I'm getting the newsletter, I'm getting reinforced. I'm like, oh, okay, there's an alignment. And so what will happen is we will have to be meeting people in person. And because you're not going to be able to meet people if there's a 100-person event, so what you're going to need is you're going to need these small, intimate, curated events.
Mhm.
And back in the 50s and 60s, that's what people would do on Friday evenings. The friends would come over, you'd have dinner, you talk, relax, you unpack for the day.
Mhm.
And then that went away because everybody just became so busy. And, you know, you can live somewhere for years and years and years and never see your neighbor.
Mhm. That's right.
And that's
Absolutely.
what I think that the younger generation will start having is a return to, I know who these people are. I know my neighbors. I make the effort to go know my neighbors. Like when I moved into my house, I knocked on every neighbor door that was across the street and a few doors down to introduce myself, say, hey, we just moved into the neighborhood, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. So, how is the future looking like for Stephanie Sylvestre?
So we're super excited about 2026. We spent December tightening the screws.
Mm-hmm.
So in 24 we did a whole revamp. 25 we just kind of reinvented ourselves and we're like this is really who we want to be when we grow up. And then it's the reinvention was like putting an IKEA furniture together. And so you have to put the IKEA furniture together and then after you've gotten it together, it's yes, it looks like the box, then you go back and you tighten the screws.
Mm-hmm.
And so we spent December tightening the screws and January has been like an amazing start. We have gotten a few contracts that we weren't even in our pipeline. And they went from yesterday we didn't know you, today you have the contract. Like really fast. Our pipeline is moving.
Mm-hmm.
And even we just got an investor this week, did not even know this person was thinking about investing. And from one day to the next was like, I'll invest. Next day, money's in the bank.
Wow.
I was just like, wow, this is like unheard of. And so I feel like that's happening because we took the time, we stopped and we tightened the screws, we got clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are able to talk about Avatar, but in a way that people understand. So I'm hoping that by the end of this year, we can add at least two, maybe three more countries. Right now, we're in the US, Belize, and Ghana. And we're hoping to add two more countries by the end of the year so that we're not only in the US, but we're global.
That's fascinating. I've actually heard you speaking at some events, and I'm glad you're here today and you're able to share and love to learn from you. So, how can people find you? How can our community and people online reach out to you or find Avatar Body and learn more about it?
Oh, absolutely. So I say to any on any podcast that I go on, say, look, you took the time to listen to me. I'd be happy to give you a half an hour. Just reference the podcast so that we know where you're coming from, so that we can be like, go back to the host and say, hey, thank you for having us here. This is what happened. You know, because we're not just want to be here, like we want to develop a relationship. We want to say, hey, your podcast is having impact. Look at this, right? And so you can Stephanie at avatarbuddy.ai, or you can go on LinkedIn and look for Stephanie Sylvestre. TRE is how I spell my last name, and Avatar Buddy, and connect with me, and then just say you saw me on a podcast, and I'll be happy to give you a half an hour of my time to chat and do any thought leadership you might need.
Amazing. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everybody being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, and I'm going to include all of the links below so you can have them. Everything will be in the description. So feel free to reach out and if you have any questions, type them down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.